to provide you all with a quick recording on how to create an expense report using your iExpense account. When you log in, you're going to come to your screen name. You'll type your username and password in. If you did forget your password, you can click here for login assistance and it will prompt you to change your password. So you're going to log in and then you're going to come to this main screen. And if you look at the top, this is a place you can always log into your expense reports and see where your expense report is in the process. It takes a lot of people that have to go through the chain to approve it, but this allows you to know that it's moving up the chain. What you're going to do first, you're going to click on here, Create Expense Report. And this is really important. For your purpose for this school year, you must start every single expense report, whether it's for the internet or for PD expenses or an outing, with FY16. And that stands for fiscal year 2016. So that's really important. Your expense report will be denied if you don't add that. So always just have that be the first thing you do in your purpose. Then the rest is just whatever your expense report is for. One thing that's really important to note to create a good expense report is you must have one event equals one expense report. So for example, if your PD is 2 or 3 days, each day does not go on a separate expense report. All those 3 days goes on one expense report. So that's just really important to know. All your mileage and all of your receipts for dining and lodging, that would all go on one expense report, not all different separate ones. So FY16, I could put Stone Mountain outing, or I could put, July PD if it was a PD. Whatever the event is, or if it was internet access. You could even put the month, like September internet access. Whatever your expense report, whatever you're expensing. So I'm going to do one that I just had. I had a training, so I'm just going to add that in there. Now, once I've added all that, I'm going to hit next. And if you'll notice here, there's 2 tabs. There's receipt-based expenses and mileage expenses. And you can, again, one expense report is one event. So a lot of times you will have things in both, especially for PD and testing time. Receipt-based expenses, that's where you're going to put like your internet bill, or if there's a PD, all of your dining expenses will go here. If you had any, for some reason you had some postage that you had to do for a mailing to a student, you would add that there. You just have to have the receipt that goes along with that. So you would just fill in all the fields. You click here, you could add your date, the receipt amount, just type in the dollar amount, like for lunch if it's $5, and your expense type, was it PD lodging, internet access, whatever is dealing with that receipt amount. And then the justification, just say, May internet access, or if it was a lunch receipt, lunch for July PD. Whatever the reason is for that receipt, you're going to type that amount in there. And again, you have to have a receipt that backs up that document. For mileage, you're going to do something similar, and that's on this tab up here. You're going to pick the start date, the date, not the date that you're submitting the report. This is the date you actually traveled and went to that event, whether it was an outing or PD or visiting a student. You're going to click your expense type. You have mileage or PD mileage, so depending on that, you're going to choose. And then again, your justification, ad hoc training at central office. Whatever your training or whatever your PD or whatever you're going to add there. And then trip distance, you're going to put not just what the distance is one way, you're going to put the total you traveled for both going there and back. So you're going to make sure you add that total distance traveled in mileage. And again, if I was at a PD or during testing and I traveled to this location more than one day, but it was for the same event, like for PD if it was 2 days, I would just pick another day and again do the same thing, and my mileage would be the same because it was the same event. You're going to click calculate once you've entered all of your mileage, and again, you can have receipt and mileage all in one report. Once you've entered everything, you're going to click next. This screen you can ignore, click next. Now this is important, this is where you're going to add your receipts, and you can see here add. Most everything you submit will need some kind of receipt. Your internet needs a receipt. Your lunch needs a detailed receipt. Credit card receipts are not allowed unless it gives you an itemized detail of exactly what was purchased. So you have to have the actual receipt from the restaurant. So here you're just going to put a title. You could put mileage TPD, or mine was mileage to ad hoc training in IC. And then in the description, be as detailed as possible. You want to make sure you're as detailed as possible. For your receipts, you can add, lunch was, submitted $5 or whatever. You want to just add a lot of details. And for mileage, you're going to want to just put your total distance traveled. Traveled to central office for ad hoc training in IC. Distance traveled was 37.33 miles one way for a total distance of 74.66 miles. Just add, like I said, as much detail as you can. Now your category, usually for mileage or internet, it's going to be miscellaneous. Your lodging, you may have a receipt, or you should have a receipt. Lunch, dinner, that kind of thing would have a receipt. Now you're going to click Browse, and this is where you're going to add that expense report in. So what you're going to do, you're going to find whatever mileage or receipt that you have saved. And what I would suggest you doing is creating a folder on your desktop titled Expense Reports. And anytime you go to MapQuest and save the mileage, remember it has to show the total distance traveled, or if you scan your receipts in, then you just know exactly where that's located. And a lot of times our locations for PDs and that kind of thing are in similar locations, so you can use those over and over again. You don't have to constantly pull a new report. So once you've added that in here, I can see here that it's there. I'm going to click Apply if that's the only receipt I need, or the only mileage I need to include. If I have a lot of receipts, then I'm going to click Add Another, and it will allow me to add as many attachments as I need. So once you're done adding all your attachments, you're going to click Apply. And then you'll be prompted here where it says View. If you hover over that, you can see down here that you can see that I've added it. So that lets you know that that attachment is there. Make sure your receipts are all scanned straight and that nothing is cut off, because it will be sent back to you. So once you've checked that, make sure everything's okay. You click here, Submit, and then you're good to go. You can see here that there's a confirmation there, so it has been submitted. And then Brenda Messer will send you emails. You'll actually get, it's not from Brenda, you'll get an email titled Workflow Mailer or something like that. And that'll let you know where your expense report is in the process. So I hope you found that helpful.